Welcome to Outdrive, folks. I'm your host, Cliff Callis, and each week I'm bringing you actionable marketing insights you can apply to reach, connect with, and convert rural American consumers. Outdrive is powered by Callis, a full-service advertising agency with a focus on marketing rural America. Callis offers a wide range of integrated marketing services, including website development, search engine marketing, social media, video, and digital. We develop strategic and creative campaigns to build your brand and your business, and you can learn more about us at ecallis.com. Now, join me in the front seat as we head out on the road to success. Let's go. Hey, folks, welcome to Outdrive. We've got another great story to share with you today about life and work in rural America. In today's world, providing rural health care is challenging for a lot of reasons, but it's so important to the quality of life for those who live here. When you throw in the additional challenges of a smaller market and population base, you better make sure your marketing is on target and on task. And that brings us to our guest today. Abbe Ream is the Director of Marketing for Harrison County Community Hospital, located in Northwest Missouri. We've gotten to know Abbe and the hospital through our agency's work on their website. HCCH has a great reputation in the communities they serve, and Abbe does a great job of getting their message out. So we're excited to have her on the podcast today to share her thoughts about innovative healthcare marketing for rural America and how she works to overcome the marketing challenges she faces and how she takes advantage of the opportunities as they come along. Welcome to Outdrive, Abbe.
Thank you.
I'm excited to have you on here. I think we've got a lot of things to talk about this morning. I know that providing rural health care is a challenge today, and it's not getting any easier regardless of where you are in the world. I know that there are misconceptions about maybe quality of care in a small community versus an urban setting, and I think I'd like to talk about that a minute and maybe how you use marketing to overcome that. And I know you have some exciting things in your future at the hospital, so I want to get into those as well. But before we do, let's start by having you tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Sure. My name is Abbe Ream, and I've been with Harrison County Community Hospital it'll be 5 years in December. I grew up in Northwest Missouri. I never traveled far. I went to college at Northwest Missouri State University. I actually have a 4-year degree in elementary education. I decided I did not want to be a teacher after those 4 years, so I went into public relations and communications, and I like people. I liked helping people, and so that just made a smart transition from kids just to adults. Before coming to the hospital, I was at a rural bank, BTC Bank, and I enjoyed that. I loved that a lot, but I was always wanting to grow there. I didn't feel content in my position. I wanted to see what I could do. So then whenever the job came open here at the hospital, I applied, and it was funny because I needed an internship when I was in college, and I didn't want to travel for that. So there was an internship in marketing open at the hospital, and I did that. Had no intention of ever coming back to the hospital. I just needed the internship. So when the job came open, I applied for it. I liked my internship. I really enjoyed Tina, who's our CEO. We got along great during my internship. And so whenever I got the job here, it was just perfect. And I have been super content. I love my position here. I love what I do. And the hospital is a great place to be.
That's exciting the way that things come together like that. Many times that's the case. It just falls together. When do you feel like you first had an interest in marketing and PR? Was there something that like the light bulb goes on? It was that.
I don't know. A lot of people say they have that moment, and I don't know that I did. I enjoyed the healthcare setting. My mom was an emergency room nurse. That's what she's done my whole life. So I had always had an interest in healthcare, but I knew nursing probably wasn't going to be for me. I knew that I liked talking. I liked event planning. I liked being in the community. So whenever I did my internship at the hospital, I really didn't think about marketing. Even whenever I was in college getting my degree, I thought more customer service, maybe a sales type position. But when I got into the marketing, especially here at the hospital, you really feel like you're helping your community. I know that I'm a behind the scenes person for sure. A lot of people don't know who runs the Facebook page. They don't know who's writing the ads for the newspaper. But I like it that way too. I feel like a voice for the hospital, and it is another way of really helping your community and your patients, just in a different way other than providing healthcare services.
I think that's a great perspective. And people have different interests, and the way that you have approached your job, I think, makes a lot of sense. Tell us about Harrison County Community Hospital.
Sure. So we are located in Bethany, Missouri. We are a critical access hospital. We have a 19-bed inpatient room wing. We have a 5-bed emergency department, but we really don't let being rural or a small town limit us at all. We have an outpatient specialty clinic. We have 19 different specialties that come to the hospital. We have 2 rural medical clinics. One is in Bethany and one is north of here in Eagleville. We provide so many services, and even people in our communities don't realize the amount of services that we're able to provide here in Bethany. We are always trying to add things, we're trying to grow. We do have big competitors close to us. Being located on I-35 interstate, it's very easy for our patients to jump on and go to Kansas City or Des Moines, wherever they want to go. So we're trying to stand out in our town. So we've added things. We have a autism diagnosing clinic, which is very new for us, but it's big because the only ones that really are around us are in Kansas City, Columbia, and those have up to 3-year wait list. So we've started that, and we're able to get kids in within months of signing up for that program. We have started a weight loss management program, which has been huge in our community, getting people active, figuring out diet plans. So we really offer all of the services that you can get in the city. They're close to home, and people think, oh, small hospital, I can't get that here, but you really can. We offer everything that you would need.
And I think the other thing that sometimes people forget about is the physicians who are trained that serve your patients are
Mm-hmm.
trained just like they're trained if they live in a big
Mm-hmm.
city. They go through the
Yes.
same process, they go to the same schools, they learn the same things, and they're able then to enjoy the quality of life that you get in a smaller community or a smaller market, and yet you can provide expert healthcare.
Correct. In our outpatient specialty clinic, I think we're up to 26 providers that come there. And we're just an outline clinic for them. They come from Liberty, Kansas City, St. Joe, and you're seeing the exact same people if you travel that you're seeing here. So you might as well just see them here where it's closer to home for you.
Absolutely, more convenient. Probably get
Yep.
in faster and quicker. And
Yes.
I think the autism diagnosis services is that's very unique and very innovative. I serve on the board of the Center for Human Services, which is an organization located in Sedalia, but they serve 52 counties around the state of Missouri, people with developmental disabilities and other types of disabilities. And through that experience, I've come to learn and know that the diagnosis for autism is a challenge, and it is hard to find people to do it. And there are a lot of people who go undiagnosed, and so therefore don't get the treatment. So you guys being innovative and providing that through your organization is awesome.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's how we try to set ourselves apart. We're trying to show, yes, we're small, but that doesn't mean that we can't do great things. I think it's been in service for a year now, and it has just blown up. We see kids from all over the state. I know one of our first patients to get diagnosed out of that clinic came to us from Springfield. They'd come, it's a 4-hour process. It's not an in and out thing. There's a lot of paperwork. The screening process, you go through 4 different providers. You do play therapy, behavior therapy, you have a one-on-one visit with the provider. It's very in-depth, and it's just like what you would receive at a larger facility. But like you said, some of those kids have been on wait lists for 3 years, and we're getting them in. I do think our wait list now is getting to 3 or 4 months, but that's still much better. And once those kids have that diagnosis, it just opens a lot of doors for them, whether it be services available to them within their school systems. They can get assistance. We have some providers who can help with some feeding things, some sensory things. We partner with UMKC School of Medicine, and we have a mobile sensory trailer. So we're able to take that out into the communities, and it's a place for kids to go. Maybe they're at a football game and the noise and the lights and everything is too much for them. They can go into that mobile sensory trailer, and it is just full of textures and lights and sounds and things that they can sit on and feel. And it just brings them back to home base, settles them down, calms them, and then they can go back out and enjoy the rest of what they're doing. And that has been huge. We just launched that this last Friday at a home football game. And it was so well received in the community. And we've had so many people reach out. How do we get that at our event? We want that at our event. So that's really exciting that we're able to do something like that, because I personally have not seen or even heard of one of those anywhere. There's a large autism resource fair in Chillicothe coming up in November. And so we will be there, and that's going to be great. There's so many kids that need that service and could utilize it. So that's really big for HCCH right now.
I think that's awesome. And you're
Yeah.
right. I don't know that I've heard about a
Mm-hmm.
mobile sensory center. I know that there's sensory rooms are starting to appear, like at KCI Airport
Yeah.
has facilities now. I know that the Center for Human Service partnered with the Missouri State Fair this year and put in a facility on the grounds during the fair. And I know that they are in discussion with other organizations like that to try to expand that because of the need for that. But as I think about you guys getting into that's really marketing at its core, isn't it? Is understanding what the needs of the community are and then
Mm-hmm.
being able to be agile enough to provide those services.
Correct. Because I can tell you, we call it PAWS, our Pediatric Autism Wellness Services. I can tell you it's not our biggest money maker for sure, but it definitely has the most impact with our patients and our communities. And so that I think that's what's really important. And that's what really shines a light on HCCH is we're not just trying to do services that are going to make us money. Yes, that's great. And yes, that keeps us going. But we do truly want to find out what do our patients need and how can we best serve them. So that
It's a
is our goal.
great approach. I think you're achieving your goal.
Yeah.
Kind of marketing challenges do you face on a regular basis in trying to tell your story? I'm sure you have some.
We do. Unfortunately, in our area right now, we are really losing a lot of media outlets. We recently just lost one of our local newspapers, which in our rural area, people still read the newspaper. I can tell you that's where, if I want a lot of people to know something, I'm sending it to the Republican Clipper because that's where they're reading it. But unfortunately, we did lose one of our newspapers. We also recently lost our local radio station, which was another big advertising place for us. So we still have the station. They just don't report local news, which is very unfortunate. So we are trying to be creative. How do we still reach those people? We live in a aging community for sure. And social media is not always the answer in rural areas. So it is nice. And we do have a lot of people who use it, but you still have to be creative and reach the population that doesn't use social media. We are trying to do how do we still reach worked with other newspapers in other counties, and luckily another county picked up our residents, so we do quarterly inserts in their paper, and so we try to fit as much into that community update flyer that we can. And it's really just hitting the pavement, going back into businesses, hanging up flyers, going to the banks, finding those little sorority groups that are still going and presenting our services to them. So that is a challenge for us. Of course, we use social media. Of course, we do all the things, but you do have to be pretty unique in some of your approaches because, like I said, we are in an aging community, we're in an aging county. So trying to reach that audience can be difficult for us.
Yeah, that is a big challenge, but I like the way that you're approaching it because you're going to where your audience is.
Correct.
And, regardless of who your audience is, there are ways to reach them, but you
Mm-hmm.
have to be inventive about it
Yeah.
sometimes. And it's like in this case, it's because you have to. You don't have the media outlets that you had at your disposal before, and really taking a grassroots, almost a guerrilla marketing approach.
Correct. Yeah. It just feels like right now, and I think it's always just this time of year, there's so much happening. There's health fairs, there's events, there's cancer walks. And so I feel like we're putting stuff out all of the time. So, especially when you're putting stuff out in the masses, you don't want anything to get lost. So, how do you utilize your community partners, your resources to still get the word out about what they're doing? In our hospital strategic plan, one of my goals is to partner with other agencies and other organizations in our communities. Harrison County, I will tell you, is one of the largest counties in Missouri, but it is all rural. Bethany is the biggest town, and the towns outside of it are little. So we're hosting events in those towns, trying to get people to come to our events. Like, we'll come to you, we'll come to your community and speak to you. You don't have to come to Bethany all the time. And I think that's important too, is going to where your people are, meeting them in their communities, making it accessible for them to learn about your services the best that you can.
Absolutely. What misconceptions do you believe people have about the healthcare they receive in a small local market?
I think the popular phrase that everybody likes to use is Band-Aid station. We hear that a lot. And I think it's just because they're like, oh, they can't treat very many things there. They're just going to send you on to the city. They're going to triage you and they're going to send you on. And that's really not true. No, we're not a trauma center. No, we're not prepared to deliver babies. We're not able to do that, but we are a level 3 stroke center. We do all the trainings that every other facility does. Our staff, we have great staff. They are trained all of the time on new skills. So I think people just think that we're a stopping point on the way to a larger facility. And that's a hard misconception to break. I think we're working really hard at that. And the best way that we're finding to do it is sharing patient testimonies. So whenever you find a patient who's been in your facility and they've had a great experience, whether it's in the ER, maybe they had an MRI, a CT, they've been in physical therapy, you take that story and you really build off of it, because I think that's also just part of being rural. You're going to believe your neighbor and your friend and what they have to say more than what you're reading in the newspaper or on Facebook about the services. When you're hearing it from somebody else, hearing that they did have a great experience, that they really liked that ER provider, that nurse practitioner was amazing and really took care of me, that goes so much further than anything that I can put out. So we're really trying to utilize our patients and their stories and promote ourselves through their stories.
That is a great approach. It is very powerful. Are most people pretty willing to tell their story?
I have found that if anybody has a great story, they are 100% they want to share it. And we actually recently had a story that the lady admitted. She said, I'll be honest, I did not think much of this hospital. She's like, but I have been a patient here for 6 weeks maybe. And she's like, I was so wrong. I've had great care. I've loved my time here. She said, my expectations were just blown. So that is huge when we can get a patient story like that, because we really just gained a patient, because she probably wasn't coming here for any of her services, but because she had to stay here for an inpatient stay, we were able to change her perspective on us, and that's awesome.
It is. And that probably will change the perception of others, people
Yeah.
she knows, or they just hear the story, read the story, and start to think that, yeah, maybe it is a misperception that I have. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of times what happens is a person's only interaction with a hospital might be an emergency situation, and
Correct.
emergency care is tough. And people only know what they know, right?
Correct.
And so they create this perception based on what they know, what they hear, what they experience, and sometimes it's not accurate.
Correct. We hear all the times in trainings that the patient is here on their worst day. So for us as staff, we are seeing this every day. This isn't new for us. Patients are always coming in here sick. They're always coming in here with something is going on in their life. But for them, it could be the first time and they are scared. So, what do we have to do as staff to make them comfortable and have a good experience? You can still make the experience positive for them, even though they might be here for scary reasons.
Yeah,
So, a
well, I
lot of
think
it is just patient experience and educating our staff on the importance of the small things and making people comfortable in our facility.
you're getting great training because I
Yeah,
think that patient experience is so critical,
yeah,
and probably is going to going forward become more and more important.
yes.
And that really even translates over to your website, where that's the first place they go. What hours are they open? What kind of services do they
Mm.
have? And that user experience needs to mirror the experience they get when they get on site.
Yeah, and I think that is the beauty and something that we are able to offer patients. Where I went to high school, I had 16 kids in my class. There was a lot of one-on-one with the teacher and the student, and we're able to offer that here in our hospital is we're smaller. There is more one-to-one care. You're getting cared for by people that you trust, people that you're seeing at church, you're seeing them in Walmart, you're seeing them at all the places. Then when you're going to the city, you have no idea who that is taking care of you. And that can add to anxiety. You're nervous, that person isn't able to connect with you on a personal level like we might be able to offer here. And I think that's super important in the healing process is knowing that you're going to be taken care of because this is the person taking care of me and I know them and I've known their family. And I think that goes a long way. And that's one of the beauties and one of the things I love about just living in a rural community is that you do know everybody and there's so much easier to build trust, I think, between patients and our staff.
So when you think about your brand, is that the story that you tell that you want people to remember?
Yeah, we want to, who's taking care of you. We want you to feel comfortable. We want you to feel at home. And sometimes in a small community, you're taking care of family, which isn't always easy. And you never know who's coming in the ER. We're starting a new initiative here at the hospital, and we're training all of our employees on it, and it's called HEART. And it stands for you say hello, you explain maybe what you're doing, you explain why the patient's here, you ask them if they have any questions, you respond to them, you try to relate to them, and then you thank them for what they're doing here. And we're doing that with our patients, but we're also doing that with our coworkers. And if you just use truly, if you just use heart and follow the steps, you're having great conversations with your patients and you're providing great personal care and you're making them feel confident in what services you're providing them.
Heart. I like that. That's very appropriate.
Yeah.
You guys have some exciting things ahead in the future. What can you tell us?
We will have a new facility, hopefully opening its doors April or May of 2026. And on Monday, they started standing our walls, which is so exciting. We can finally see our facility, the layout, and what it's going to look like. It's going to be really exciting to get inside once they get all those walls up, but there's still a long way to go. It's going to have so much more space for our patients. We offer MRI services, and those are going to be able to be inside. Right now, they are located outside our facility in an off-site trailer. So we're enhancing that. We are going to be able to offer more things. We're going to have an infusion center. Right now, unfortunately, we have shared patient rooms. So when our census is high, patients are sharing a room, and nobody wants to share a room when they're sick, especially with a stranger. They want their own space. So we're going to have private patient rooms. We're going to have a better dining area for visitors and people coming into our facility. We don't really have that here. Our dining area is in the basement, but some patients are here for a long time. They're here for a few hours in a day, and maybe they do want lunch. So it seems like a silly small thing, but it's not. It's really important. And we're all going to be under one roof. I think it helps with workflows. We have been in this facility for 70 years. It's falling apart on us. Our boilers are going out. It seems every day there's an issue. So in a brand new facility, it's exciting. And I hope our community is excited. Change is hard for people. Um, and we've done a really good job at keeping this facility that we're currently in up. It looks nice. So some people are like, do you really need a new facility? That's a lot of money, but we really do. And I don't think it shows as much until maybe you or your loved one has been an inpatient and you're like, wow, yeah, you guys do. You really need upgrades, and we're just not able to do that here. So it is very exciting. We're going to be able to offer more services, do more surgeries. That's really been growing at our hospital is we're getting providers in here that can offer those orthopedic surgeries, general surgery, urology surgeries. So we'll have two ORs where we can be doing multiple surgeries at a time. And in our small area, that is huge.
That is exciting. And I'm sure the community is supportive of this. They have to be. The fact, first of all, that they have a local community hospital is important for
Yeah.
a community. But the fact that you're expanding services, expanding capabilities,
Mhm.
space, and all, that's wonderful. And is that facility nearby?
It is. It's actually about 2 miles north of where we're at. So, where our hospital sits right now, we are the heart of Bethany. And I think that is something that people are going to miss. We call it Hospital Hill. It's a big hill in the town, and we sit right on it. We are moving out, and we will be located right off I-35, the interstate. It'll be better visible for people traveling through. It's right by the high school. It's a great location. You can see it when you're passing by. It'll be a move across town, but we're still in the city limits.
Yeah, good. Will be exciting to see that develop over the next couple of
Yes.
years. And you're going to have some news stories to tell
Yes.
in your role. And I think about your role, and you've already talked about the different medias that you're using and the events that you're going to and new product offerings, social media, you got manage a website. What's your typical day look like? I think you're probably pretty busy.
I usually am pretty busy. I don't have a lot of slow days, but I can usually fill those slow days whenever I have one. I am a one person department, which is not uncommon really in healthcare marketing. I have found out. I was actually just recently at the Missouri Hospital Association's marketing conference, and I was able to connect with a lot of people who are one man departments. So that was nice to be able to ask them, how do you make it work? How do you schedule your days? But typically, when I get to work, I do the basics. I get on our social media. I check to see how our posts are doing the day before. For social media, we use LinkedIn and Facebook. We've talked about going into Instagram, but I don't feel like that's where our audience is. So I don't spend a lot of time on that. I don't think that it's really going to benefit us that much to go there. So I check on our social media. Then right now, it just feels like we are adding, whether it's a new provider, a new service. And then, of course, this time of year, we have all kinds of events going on. So then okay, where am I at on planning my events? And I do feel like my job, it can be pretty event heavy. Whether it's health fairs, we do discounted services for patients. Right now, the huge one is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So how can we push this in our community, educate on the importance of early detection? We are offering discounted mammograms for patients that are uninsured, which is big in our area because there are a lot of people without insurance and they're expensive and they're important, and you really should have one every year. So how can we make it more accessible for those patients? I spend a lot of time in meetings with our clinical leaders, educating myself. Okay, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Tell me what we can do to help our patients. I spend a lot of times in meetings like that. I ask a lot of questions, and I do apologize for a lot of my questions because I feel like they think I'm just bombarding them, and I am. But I want to know, I want them to tell me the services that they have. And then I try to come up with, okay, this is what I'm understanding. I would like to do this. I want to discount this service. What do you think? And it goes really well. It goes well. We get more patients in the door. And like I said, is it a great moneymaker to discount services? Probably not. Does our CFO probably go, oh, I don't know? Probably, but it's what's best for our patients. And there's a lot of patients that come in for those discounted screenings that wouldn't get screened normally. And we do find things. We do find breast cancer. We do find heart conditions. And so they're important. I spend, like you said, I do manage our website. So I try to make sure, which was created by Callis, and I loved working with them.
Thank you.
But I go on there. I try to do a news post, something that's going on in the hospital, make sure everything's updated. The big thing I feel like people go to our website for is they want to know what providers are coming, what's going on at the new hospital. So we try to keep that up to date. We do community updates for our new facility, which we do those in the newspaper on our website. And then I also have a lot of extracurriculars here at the hospital. I do head our auxiliary, which is a volunteer program. We have a gift shop, and then we just raise funds. We do scholarships for students in the area going into healthcare. We do some equipment purchases for the hospital. A lot of them are smaller things like new wheelchairs or a sonogram printing machine or things like that. And then I'm also the secretary on our hospital foundation board, which I love. The foundation's a great thing, and we do great things for the hospital and the community. But, and then I am here to help, like, I feel like I'm here to assist our staff. So I have staff come to me like, hey, I have this job. It's been open for a long time. Can you work a way to post that on our Facebook? Maybe you could think of something creative on how to do this. Hey, can you do this? And so I have a lot of hats and I enjoy it because I'm always doing something new. I have my basics, of course. I'm promoting this service this month and I'm promoting this provider and I have those things, but then I get to play event planner and party planner and I enjoy that too because it keeps things fun.
I bet that the people you work with appreciate the fact that you ask questions.
Yes.
And that really does make a good marketer is that curiosity, the I want to know what the why
hmm
behind you're doing things so that I
hmm
can better understand how to market it. And you must be incredibly well organized, I'm guessing.
I have a few planners and a few notebooks, and I write the same thing on all of them. But just in case I'm somewhere where I don't have one of them, I have what I need.
There you go. There's no replacement for that.
Yep.
One of the things, a lot of the things that you just described there are the things that I love about marketing too, and the
hmm
variety of tasks and the opportunity to be creative in different settings.
hmm
Marketing is changing and it just keeps changing. I think it's pretty much technology that's driving that and opportunities. How do you stay up with the changes in marketing?
It is difficult. And the huge thing right now is video marketing and patients, not just patients, any audience. It's proven that they're more likely to watch a video they are than to read a post or read a news story. That's been new for me because it is marketing, but at the same time, you have to have a background in some digital or some audio. Like when I was in college, that was a whole separate degree.
Hmm.
And so I feel like they're really trying to merge the two. So I hope in colleges they're pushing more of these technology classes because I haven't been out of college a super long time, but they didn't really push those videography classes and those photography classes. And I think that's super important in marketing right now. So I'm self teaching myself. What does it look like to do video and how do we use video to promote our services or to educate or to introduce our providers? And it's a challenge because people don't like to be videoed. We do a podcast, but I don't record them live. It's recorded, but they're not videoed. If they don't want to listen to themselves, they just don't listen to it. But whenever you say, now I'm going to record you with a video, they start stepping back pretty quick. And so it's a lot of bribing, honestly, to get them to sit in front of the camera. And if I beg long enough, they normally do it. But that has been a learning curve. I know some people are really getting into the AI um, side of things. I have not. It does make me a little nervous. I still want my content to be authentic. I don't want people to look at it and be able to tell that's fake. I do take pride in my designs and creating content for patients, and I want it to look like me. I think I heard somebody say one time, you want it to have a voice. You have a voice whether you think you do or not. Maybe it's a picture, but it's still speaking. It looks like you, it sounds like you. And so I think that's really important. And whenever you get into the AI type of things, you can lose that if you're not careful. And it is new and I'm learning it, but I'm cautious with it too. I try to do a lot of trainings and stay up to date on things. But yeah, the video thing is really taken off. And so that's a big push for me right now is they say the more authentic the video is, the more people like it. I don't know if that's true. I hope so because um, it is hard to do some of the editing and stuff in it, but we're learning and it's been fun.
I think you're right. Authenticity is very important in video
hmm
marketing, really in any story, I think today that as we look across all industries and all markets, the authenticity is very powerful for
hmm
people. And you're right, video marketing is a challenge and it's time consuming.
hmm
And there are a lot of different ways to do it from on the go, quick quick production type real
hmm
videos, Facebook Live
hmm
things, to elaborate, planned, filmed, and staged productions. And there's variables in between. And so I think the fact that you're getting into that is
hmm
positive. because you're right. That's where we're getting the best results for most every
Yeah,
client. But it is time consuming and it's hard, and you want to put out quality, right? And sometimes that's a challenge based on resources, budget, people,
correct.
etc.
It's expensive. It
It
is.
can be. It can be expensive. You mentioned LinkedIn and Facebook as social media tools that you're using. What are your goals for social media?
It was actually interesting. I listened to a rural health social media webinar the other day, and he talked about don't just broadcast all the time what you're doing, interact with your patients, interact with the people that are interacting with you. And that really stuck with me because I do think that we use our Facebook page as a news outlet. We're always like, hey, we have this going on. Hey, come here for this, or did you know this, or come see this provider. And I didn't take a lot of time to interact with other organizations, or if a patient wrote a story about us, I didn't always take the time to really respond to that and share it to our page. And I think that's really important. So that's what I've been working on, is not just using it as a news broadcasting outlet, but using it as a connection tool and a relationship builder in our community. Now, for LinkedIn, I probably don't use it as much as I do with Facebook. I use it for more of our, I like to say, more of our professional side, not all the
Mhm.
fun stuff. We have new hospital, or if the hospital receives an award, we were just actually recognized for the MHA Compass Award for small hospitals. And it had to do with our patient family advisory committee and all the changes that they're bringing to our hospital, suggestions that they have to better serve the patients. And we got to recognize for that because we've taken their suggestions and we've ran with them and we've implemented them, and it's been great. So I use it for highlighting our recognitions. If Tina gets a recognition for being the MHA treasurer, she's going on there. Or maybe one of our doctors just completed a new certification. I want to get that on there. The business end. And then for Facebook, we do the fun stuff. We just had a pink out walk for breast cancer awareness. We raise money for our cancer transportation with the high school. We do a pink out football game, and people love that. And I have found, and I'm sure everybody knows this, whenever you're posting pictures of your staff, yourself, events, real people, real activities, people love that. They love to comment on it. They love to see, oh, I know that person, or oh, I should have been at that. And it goes way further than just posting an advertisement about our podiatrist and the services that he's offering this month. I try to make our Facebook more personable and interactive and build a relationship builder, really.
I think that's a great approach because you're right. And advertising is important. It's an important component of it. So many people's news feeds are getting filled up with ads
Mm-hmm.
that when they see that person they know, or they see that event that they should have been at, or maybe they were at, it
Mm-hmm.
does make that connection stronger. So
Mm-hmm.
nice job with that.
Yeah, thank you.
And congratulations on the MHA Compass Award. That's a big
Thank
deal.
you. And
You're
it
welcome.
was, yes, it was very exciting.
Really enjoyed visiting with you today. I knew we would have a lot to talk about, and you've done an amazing job of sharing some insight that our audience is going to really be able to utilize. The focus of our podcast is marketing to rural America.
Mhm.
When you hear the words rural America, what kind of thoughts and images come to your mind?
I think community, I think neighbors helping neighbors, I think what can I do to help the next person make it better for them. And I've never had the drive to go anywhere bigger. I think small towns are comfortable. I think that I always know that if I need something, somebody's going to be there to help me. I don't ever have to worry about that. And that doesn't matter if it's in my job. If, I have something going on in my personal life and I go to my boss and I'm like, hey, you know what? I need a day. I'm going to get that. And I think that's really important. The nuclear family is so important. And it's still important in rural America. And it's a safe place and a place that I'm proud to raise my kids and plant my roots and stay and help the next generation better it for them.
Pretty good way of life, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I agree. What else would you like to share with our Outdrive audience today that you think they might find interesting or maybe even inspiring?
I think I'd like to share that if you're already in marketing, if you're thinking about going into marketing, if you're new to it, the best teacher is experience. Just jumping in head first. I can tell you that, like I said, I had really didn't have my eyes set on marketing. Marketing found me And it was a passion that I didn't really know I had, but I knew that I wanted to help people. I knew that I wanted to help people find resources that maybe they didn't know that they were able to have. And so the hospital marketing kind of just was a perfect fit for me. But just get out and try it. And I need to remind myself of this sometimes, but don't be scared to try something new because it could be great and it will be great. Practice makes perfect, just like always. But maybe you want to do marketing, but you're like, gosh, I really don't know what industry. Find an industry that you're passionate about, and it makes marketing pretty easy because it really pulls out your creative side and you work really hard at it. If you're in an industry where you're like, I don't really care maybe about what they're promoting, or I don't really care about what they're doing. I'm just here for a job. That's not fun and that's not a way to spend your career. But if you find an industry that you're just really tie into and you feel like you're making a difference, it makes your marketing job pretty easy.
It's great advice. Thank you
Yeah,
for sharing that.
thank you.
And thanks for being with us today.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Folks, thanks for listening to Outdrive. I hope you've enjoyed our visit today with Abbe Ream, Director of Marketing for Harrison County Community Hospital. If you like the show, go out and give us a nice rating and review, and come back again next week, and I'll take you down the roads of rural America where it's heaven on earth.
Thanks for taking a ride with us on Outdrive. This episode is complete, so head on over to ecallis.com for more insight you can apply to help drive your business growth. And be sure to sign up for our free monthly e-letter, Outthink, for even more helpful content about marketing to rural America. Have a great day and keep on driving.